You are listening to Trophy Horse with your hosts, Tricky Nick, Alex, I Yield to Nolan, Sid, and Ender Phoenix.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Trophy Wars. This is episode 691. I'm your host, Tricky Mick. Alongside with me, the man, the myth, the legend. Only if you could be on time, it's Alex.
I was basically on time, and
3 minutes is late.
oh, good lord. Well, you know what, Tricky? You weren't here to actually start talking until after that, so technically you were late to record.
Because I waited. No. I was here at 20 till. When I saw you were late, I went out to smoke a cigarette and came back when I got a text message saying you were finally here.
Okay, well, it took you that long to smoke a cigarette? Also, I was online the entire time. It's just Ashley was sitting here talking to me, and I didn't actually I was on, you can see me online, on Discord. I just actually didn't join the call until 7:03.
Then you were late. You can tell your boss. I'm sorry, boss. I didn't clock in because my girlfriend was talking to me.
I'm late almost every day.
Are you really?
Yeah.
At least I don't feel bad
Yeah,
now.
no, I'm late almost every single day.
He's the man who likes to set Ghost on fire. It's Matt.
Hey. That's all I got.
I was expecting more.
No.
We don't have Yield today. I sent him on to assignment into Madagascar.
We've already been there, haven't we?
Zimbabwe?
That we've been there too.
You've been there too.
Tricky, do you know like 5 countries?
All I know is I told him to take a left at Albuquerque. But
You could have sent him to the Czech Republic.
But who wants to go to the Czech Republic?
Dude, Prague is there. Well,
If
Prague
you
is
have any
there.
fans
What do
in
you
the
mean
Czech
who wants to go to the
Republic?
Czech Republic? Prague is there.
No offense to anybody that listens to us in the Czech Republic.
Yeah, Tricky put his foot in his mouth, and you just now realize he should probably not do that.
Gentlemen, it's been a weird day. It's been a weird week. And I have a little bit of a gripe, and I'm hoping you two will back me up on this.
No.
There's been an influx of people driving that don't turn their lights on.
You mean their indicators, their left and right turn indicators?
No. I'm talking about their actual lights.
Oh, you mean like how you're
Like-
always supposed to have like your lights on when it's raining?
Right. But I'm talking about at night, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, they don't have any lights on their car, and the only way I know they're there is if they hit the brakes. Now, maybe I'm wrong with this, but does anybody know the universal sign of when you're behind somebody saying, hey, your lights are off? Does anybody know what to do?
Well, usually people honk. Anytime that I've forgotten to turn my lights on, usually people honk at me, or they flash their lights. They turn theirs on and off.
Correct. You flash your high beams.
You don't flash high beams. I mean, I guess you can, but you just turn your lights on and off real quick.
Matt, what do you do?
If I'm behind somebody, I don't flash my high beams because that's the universal sign of get the fuck out of my way.
That too.
If I'm driving and somebody's flashing their lights behind me, I'm assuming they want me to get out of the way. So I'm not one to sit there and think, oh, is something else wrong? My first thought is they want to pass me. If I slow down and try to move over and they're still flashing, then I know that there's something else that's up. But generally, I'm not stopping. I'm not trying to figure out this puzzle because generally if I'm driving at night, I'm not stopping for somebody.
Okay, well, they're not turning on their lights and they're not moving out of the lane, so obviously they're not paying attention. But it annoys me. How do you get in a car and not turn your lights on? It's like an influx. I've seen at least 20 people this week like that.
I will agree. I've seen it lately, and I don't know what the hell's going on.
It's like 20 people this past week that just driving. And you know what? And maybe I'm a little sensitive because I am driving a big truck, so it's important that I see the people around me and the cars around me. And, I have a lot of blind spots in my trucks. So it's very important I see them. But it's like, come on. Yeah, it's been annoying me. And I had to get it off my chest.
I mean, people do all kinds of things when it comes to driving that really... I have a lot of patience for things in general in life. But when it comes to driving, I have no patience for people being shitty drivers. Like, I just don't.
You get a lot of road rage?
I wouldn't say road rage. Like, I may call somebody a fuckface in my car. I'm not going to, like, roll down the window or, like, try to cause an accident or do something stupid. But, I mean, who hasn't, like, uttered an insult to somebody, in their car or yelled at somebody? The occasional shaking of the fist. But, I always try to keep in mind that I am in a very large or a heavy vehicle, and I don't want to, it's just easier to get to work if everyone gets to work safely. So I try to keep that in mind. It's like, I don't throw my controllers because, oh shit, this could cost me some money. So if I'm going to do that with a controller, I'm definitely not going to get crazy in a car.
I mean, I have a little bit of patience because universally nobody wants to be behind the garbage truck. So I'm used to people cutting me off and stuff like that. But just driving without your lights,
I think it's just something people forget. I mean, sometimes some cars will automatically turn them on. Like, there are sensors. Like, Ashley's car has a thing where if it's necessary to have more light, her lights will automatically go to high beams. So there are certainly, we live in an age where cars can do that. I think one of my first cars actually was, like, automatic lights came on, depending on what time of day it was. But sometimes, like, as someone who has
my car does that
forgotten
too.
to turn on his lights occasionally, and, like, it's not, like, pitch dark. It's not, like, 2 or 3 in the morning. But... when it's, a little in the evenings, like, sometimes you just forget. I don't think it's like I want to cause harm kind of thing.
No. All right. That's my little gripe. Let's do our updated trophy counts. I am level 971, total trophies of 34,950 with 1,001 plats. I've decided that I want PSN profiles to show my 1,000th plat, so I got to figure out a plat to do that for there. I have some ideas. Alex.
Sure, none of them are good ideas either.
I think I'm going to go back and get Hellblade again.
Well, you just started playing that. Tell me you just started playing Hellblade for the first time, so...
No, I'm talking about the PS4 version of Hellblade 1.
You can't get the PS5 version of Hellblade because you already got that.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to go back and get.
Yeah, PSN tells me what you're playing.
Oh, aren't you special? Can you give us your trophy count and stop
I'm trying to me? No one's narking on you, Tricky. We're just having a conversation here. A conversation which
you're narking on me.
You narc on yourself, sir. Level 525, total trophy count 10,842, and a platinum count of 197 and 196 games.
Yield is level 535, total trophies of 11,443, 220 plats. Matt?
Level 222 with 1,350 trophies and 0 plats.
And Sid is level 899, total trophies of 27,654 with 862 platinums. We do not have a rarity update this week, nor do we have a Sophie's Trophies. Garrett messaged me saying that he's a little hungover and forgot to do the list, so no update this week. Let's get into what we're playing. Alex, let's start with you, because you're a little high on life.
That was nice there, Tricky. I
see what he did there.
Yeah, I appreciate that. We'll get to that later. It was the start of the Rocket League Haunted Hallows event. Obviously, the seasonal events in Rocket League are always a favorite of mine, which is why I was so disappointed last year when they did a Spider-Man event, and I was just like, man, this just doesn't feel like Halloween. They picked much better crossover this year. I alluded to it in an earlier episode, but Scooby-Doo is the crossover this year, which I grew up on, even though Scooby-Doo is from like the 60s, well, the late 60s. I grew up on Scooby-Doo, and like as a kid, I love the series, and even as an adult, obviously I have some kind of fondness for it. So I was glad to see that they, thought outside the box, and Scooby-Doo was the choice they went with. Feels like Halloween. I'll give a few positives, although I do definitely see room for improvement with the event. They changed the way they do the Golden Pumpkins. The Golden Pumpkins are like basically a loot box that it can have potentially like the rarest items in there, if you're lucky enough to get those. But they used to be where you would say like have to win 10 matches and you got a Golden Pumpkin. Now they tie them to doing certain things like earn a certain amount of XP during the event, maybe score a certain number of goals, or do all these different things. They were all pretty easy to get. So there were 5 gold pumpkins you could get. I got all 5 pretty much in the first night of the event. So they were much easier to get this time around, which I appreciate. I thought that was a good call. And with the free items, they always give you some items you have to pay for, but also some free items. And with the free items, they gave you basically enough to make a Scooby-Doo car, which I think it's nice. I wish that they had, you have to pay for the Scooby-Doo goal score. It's $8 in the shop, essentially 800 credits. And I really think that one of the tasks for one of the items, which is a sandwich, obviously Shaggy and Scooby would make sandwiches all the time, really big ones. They have a sandwich antenna as kind of a throwback to Scooby-Doo, but that you have to earn that. You have to get 41 goals during the event, which ends in early November. Now, there's plenty of time to do that if you're playing every day or know how to get, goals by playing competitive hoops. But it would have been really nice if they gave us the goal score. Like, you had to earn it, like score 41 goals and get the goal score. I feel like you would have to earn it. And like that would truly give you a complete car with, the wheels and the topper and the antenna and the goal score. Like that would have been, I really feel like they should have given us the goal score, or we at least give it to where we could earn it. And then you have to pay for the mystery machine, which obviously, there's a crossover. They had to pay for the license. I get it. But it's, the problem with this is it's kind of highlights the biggest issue with Rocket League, that everything, since going to free to play, everything is overpriced. Everything. Like, everything should be at least half the price it is. But you got to pay $20 for the mystery machine. I would love to have the mystery machine, but I'm not that big of a fan of it. So, in general, I really like the crossover, but I definitely think that it highlights one of the biggest issues in the game, which is everything is just way too fucking expensive. Like, it's just too much. Last thing I'll say about Rocket League is I really wish they do usually once, like when the store switches over every day, they usually have one Halloween item in there. I really wish they would just go bonkers with the Halloween items. Even if it's just like the week leading up to Halloween, just put all old Halloween items up there. They brought back the Night Before Christmas stuff. They brought back the Batman stuff. So they have brought back some of the older stuff from Halloween's past, or I should say Haunted Hallows past. But the shop should be just littered with old Halloween stuff, because they didn't always used to do licensed events. Sometimes they just had like a haunted house topper on your car, or like a pumpkin trail or something like that. So I just really wish that they would just overload the store with that stuff, because it's just one time a year, and I really don't care about all the normal stuff they have in there when it's, themed for Halloween. So it's one definite place I could see improvement. Just load the store for Halloween and charge people like 50 credits, maybe 100 credits for everything like this, It'd be really nice. And I think it would make the event better. The other game, as Tricky was alluding to, is High on Life. And this game, I had mentioned it before, but it's a PlayStation Plus game that I downloaded and decided to go through. I'm not really playing anything super Halloween-y, but I guess this can suffice for that. Really, it's not really a direct comparison, but when I play this game, I kind of think of like, man, did they take some inspiration from Ratchet and Clank? Your story is that you're a up-and-coming bounty hunter, and you go, basically the game is you collect 7 bounties, and you got to go defeat each boss. So that's kind of like right up my alley, because, I love Punch-Out, I love Shadow of the Colossus. It's essentially a bunch of boss fights, and that's kind of the way this game is. You got to get and find the bounties, but, the whole thing is about tracking down these bounties. So the game is really centered around the boss fights. And set in space, you're going to fight like space gangsters. I don't know. And the big kind of hook is like these really creative weapons, kind of like Ratchet and Clank. Just these oddball weapons that actually, so instead of like a Clank, you have your guns, which are your companions. It's an alien race called the Gatlians. They talk to you. Actually, your character doesn't talk, so they're the only ones who talk. But they're your companions throughout the game, but they're also your guns, which is kind of a unique little take on, a game. They even give you a god gun named Let's Do It, kind of like almost like a rhino style game, or like a rhino style gun, like from Ratchet and Clank. They give that to you before the final boss, and it just wipes everything out. Now it has a significant recharge, but it's just like a rhino. It just kills everything. Makes the final level, the final boss, pretty easy. But the game itself, even on normal, is very hard. It's not not particularly difficult. So, it is fun. I do enjoy the witty banter. Although I will say that there were a couple points in the game where the conversation went a little too far. And it's like, man, can y'all shut the fuck up so I can continue playing this game that I'm enjoying playing? For instance, like the sister, you become a bounty hunter because there is a washed up bounty hunter, down on his luck bounty hunter who actually lost his legs. I don't know really how, more down on your luck you can be than not having your legs and also being homeless. But he essentially comes to live with you, gives you his suit, kind of trains you in how to be a bounty hunter. And throughout the game, you're living with your sister, and this alien, his name's Gene, are fighting all the time. And like they give you these choices on who to back. And it's just really stupid. Like overall, the game is pretty enjoyable, but like the arguments between the sister and having to pick sides between the sister and the alien, your new alien friend Gene, are just really stupid and unnecessary. I guess it's part of the story, but I didn't really enjoy that at all. So I kind of just rolled my eyes anytime that came up. Maybe though the biggest issue with the game is there's no map. You have a radar that helps you figure out where the collectibles are, and there are a lot with 227 of them, but there's no map. So one of the constant complaints I've seen online from the game is that it's hard to find your way to an exit sometimes because there's one exit, or there's typically a few exits back to your hub from each level, but it's hard to find them sometimes unless you actually know by playing the planet over and over again. And also it's hard to find very specific points of interest. So I hope that they're making a second game. I really hope they put a map in because this game desperately needs a map. It's just kind of hard to find your way around, which gets very, very annoying. But yeah, for the most part, I enjoyed the guns, the characters, the humor in it. There were definitely some funny parts. Like there was a space Applebee's where you go to eat with your friend, with one of your guns. It's a story point, but you're sitting down at Space Applebee's and your companion is pouring his heart out to you, and the waiter just is completely clueless and just coming by and is like, "What would you like to drink? Oh, hey, what's your appetizer?" And it gets to the point where your buddy's like, "Oh, could you just fuck off?" Blah, blah, blah. And the waiter's like, "Oh, someone sounds like somebody's in a bad mood." Just like that kind of stuff. I don't know. Just having a Space Applebee's. The humor is good. But I mean, I definitely think sometimes they go a little overboard with the dialogue to where it cuts into that when I actually just want to keep playing. It breaks the flow of the game, essentially. But no, overall, I thought it was a good game, other than the lack of a map, some of the dialogue being a little bit eye roll worthy. The gameplay is fun, not a super long game. But yeah, big warning to anybody who is a trophy hunter. There are some missable trophies. I think there's 9 of them that are missable. So, just, be aware of that because I am going to have to go back and do a second playthrough because I missed one very early. And this is a great example of a game where I'm playing this 2 years after most people played it. Because I saw people back in 2023 who were playing the game messaging about glitches and glitch trophies and bugs and stuff. This is a great example of how being an early adopter is not the best experience because I'm playing it 2 years later, one for free because, as part of the PlayStation Plus, but also I don't have to deal with as many bugs or glitches or stuff like that. So a great example of just waiting to play a game and how that actually can pay off. But overall, generally enjoyable conversation. The guns, the characters are all great. The gunplay is fun. And so, yeah, like Ratchet and Clank, it's a very cartoony world, even though, you're fighting gangsters in space. So I definitely enjoy all of that very much. And I would be very interested to hear the creators if they actually got any inspiration from Ratchet and Clank, because I could definitely see that. Although the game is first person, not third person. But yeah, I'm pretty far into the game. Well, I've beaten the game. Going to start a second playthrough to mop up the trophies that I missed. But overall, if you downloaded High on Life while it's free and you never tried it, maybe a good time to try it. Especially with the second game coming out.
All right, Matt, what have you been playing, sir?
So, God, what have I been playing? As you know, I wasn't here
the game of
last
life,
week.
Matt.
Yeah, it is the game of life, and
it sounds like that's got you real down.
I will say this.
Matt, it's got you real down there.
Sleep has not been an easy thing these past 2 months, I guess. I don't know. Anyways, for what I've been playing, more Donkey Kong Bonanza. I got the second Bonanza form, which is the form of an ostrich, which allows you to glide on gusts of of winds and fans to reach new areas, so that's fun.
Man, I'm sorry to break in here so early, but obviously there was an ostrich like animal friend who you had in the SNES games. Are a lot of these just based on like Rambi the Rhino? Are they just based on the old forms?
So I know that there's obviously you got the DK Bonanza, you got an ostrich Bonanza, there's a zebra Bonanza.
Yeah,
I don't remember there being a zebra.
No. That would have been a nice call.
I mean,
Rambi.
Well, Rambi shows up with Cranky at each level, and you have to listen to Cranky's stories, and he gives you a banana. And obviously, it's just a long, drawn-out story, like most old timers will give you. But I'm making my way through. It's called I think it's like the Egg Hotel or something like that. But everybody's an ostrich in the area, so I'm making my way through that level, and I'm just plugging along. Did more Ghost of Yotei. You guys remember that scene from The Dark Knight Rises where Bane and Batman have their first fight, and Batman turns off the lights, and Bane's like, "Oh, yes, you think the darkness is your ally, but I was born in it." And basically just telling Batman it means nothing to him. So I'm playing Ghost of Yotei, and I get 2 charms. And for those of you who don't know, you get charms to modify your combat capabilities in the game. The first charm allows me to steal fire from my enemies when they use it on me. So if somebody uses like a fire sword or a fire arrow and I parry it, my sword catches fire and I can use it on them. And then I got another charm that does increased fire damage to the enemies. So I'm fighting a group of a faction in the game that is notorious for using fire. And I feel like Bane in those moments, like, you think fire's your friend. No. So I've just been having more fun exploring with that. I've done a number of samurai duels. I've gone on some crazy hikes to find some charms across the maps. I continue taking out encampments. I befriended a wolf who helps me. So I'll just say I am continuing to love this game. It is everything I wanted. Again, Ghost of Tsushima was an awesome game. And another story about that was my friends picked up Ghost of Tsushima on the PC. And I said, finally, somebody I can play Legends mode with. So
you could have played Legends mode with me, Matt. Or no,
I wasn't aware.
Wait, is it crossplay?
Yes, it is crossplay.
Okay, yeah, you could play with me.
Well, the problem that I found out is even though it's crossplay, I still need PS Plus to play online. Yeah. Thanks, Sony. Appreciate it. You do not need PS Plus if you're playing it on the PC or off Steam. So just making that aware. So anyway, I bought Ghost of Tsushima on Steam so I could play with my friends without having to pay for PS Plus.
I'm shaking my head over here.
Why are you shaking your head?
Because you bought an entire game instead of just buying
for less than $40 as opposed to spending $80 for the year for PS Plus.
And you could have had Plus for a year instead of you spent $40 on.
And I have a game permanently in my library. Yeah, that's my reasoning, and I'm sticking to it.
But didn't you have the game already
on the PlayStation? Yes.
So
and now I can play on my Steam Deck.
Right. So you already had the game permanently in your PlayStation library.
Yes, and now I can play on my Steam Deck. Yeah.
Shaking my
exactly.
Shaking my head.
So we did a little bit of that, and then finally. No, actually, not finally. I also bought some new games during this Steam Next Fest. A new game came out called Ball Pit. You guys remember Arkanoid, right?
I thought you were going to ask me if I remember Ball Pits. I'm like, yeah, I remember Ball Pits.
Oh, yeah, not that kind of Ball Pit. This is a roguelike where there's 70 different... So basically, you're using... they call them baby balls to attack. You're launching them out, and you got special balls that can be used to do different effects, like burning, cold, so freezing, bleeding, poison. So there's 70 of these variations in the game. and they have a mechanic by which you can combine any 70 of those variations. And then you can combine any of those variations with other variations. So it gets complicated real fast. But basically the premise is you drop into a dungeon, your character starts walking forward, and you got enemies dropping down on the top of the screen towards you, and you have to be able to kill them all to continue on. Rinse, repeat. It's a roguelike, so it's a lot of the same game, just various mechanics that expand the further you go. I did play Monster Hunter Wilds. I tried to take on that Final Fantasy 14 crossover boss, and it taught me I'm not as good at Monster Hunter as I thought I was, because it succinctly just destroyed me. So I will continue banging my head against that. Yes, Will, I said balls. Commence with laughter. Good job. Continue banging my head against the Monster Hunter Wilds train. And then finally, I did pick up and I started playing Pokemon Legends ZA. I'm not through the tutorial yet. It's a pretty heavy hand-holding tutorial, as many have said. So I'm just literally starting out on the game, and we'll see as it goes along. But that's what I've been up to these past 2 weeks, outside of, a different type of hunting.
All right, and I've been playing a little bit of The Division, mostly Spider-Man. I just finished the DLC for the 4 and the 5 version. I am not going to go back and get the trophies. I have one remaining trophy on the 4 version, which is to beat it on Ultimate Difficulty, and then I have that same trophy on the 5. Also, I got to complete a base without taking damage. I'm just not even going to try to bang my head against the wall. So I'm now officially done with all Spider-Man games for the time being. Started playing a little bit of Hellblade 2 a little bit more. Played The Division. I think that's it. I think that's all I've been playing. I don't know. Alex, you spy on me on the PSN. What have I been playing?
Well, I don't spy on you beyond what it says on my homepage, on my main screen, and it just says that you played Hellblade, Sinuous Sacrifice for the first time, which we all know is BS, but that's what PlayStation Network thinks. But no, I don't look into comparing trophies or anything like that. I ain't got time for that. Come on, Tricky, I don't care that much.
Yeah. First time I played it. Yeah, it's weird. It says I got both my trophies on the 10th of 2025. That's really weird. Oh wait, that's wait, I'm sorry. That's hold on. That was Hellblade 2. Hold on. Stand by. I got my first trophy in Senua in 2018. So yeah. Okay, that's all I've been playing. Yeah. So at this point, I'm going to throw it over to Mr. Matt with this week's topics.
All right, first up, we are doing the mid-month update for the PlayStation Plus. And for those of you on the extra and premium categories, you are getting some spooky games. First up, you are getting the Silent Hill 2 remake for the PS5. Fantastic edition. Finally, Jimmy Ryan fulfills his high-quality game promise. And then you're also getting the Until Dawn game, but what it doesn't say is which version it is. I can assume that since this is a PS5 only, that is the updated one that came out last year. Either way, great game to play. So enjoy that. V Rising for the PS5, which is a vampire building town simulator, where I guess you build your empire. You can go solo, you can go co-op, and suck some blood. You're also getting Yakuza Like a Dragon for the PS4, PS5, the turn-based variation on the Yakuza series, which I enjoyed greatly. Poppy Playtime Chapter 1 for the PS4, PS5, which I know on Steam is a free game, so interesting. As Dusk Falls for the PS4, PS5, which I know nothing about. Wizard with a Gun for the PS5. It's a roguelike game where you play like a Western wizard. And on the PlayStation Plus Premium category, you get Tekken 3 for the PS4, PS5. That's it. That's all you're getting.
Yeah, I just looked it up. There's only one Until Dawn for the 5, so this has to be the updated one.
Okay. All right.
And apparently the 4 version is not even sold anymore.
No, I'm not surprised when they did the update. They probably killed off the previous version. Alex?
I mean, I can go back. It says Until Dawn 2015 unavailable.
Yeah. Okay, so it's got to be the updated version. Alex? Yep. What are you playing this month?
Well, I'm finishing High on Life, and then I honestly don't know what I am playing. How
about Gears of War?
Well, if I could get somebody to play with me, then yeah, maybe I would.
Well, if you answer my text, you'd get somebody to play with.
We had it set up last week, and you bailed on me.
And then what about this week?
I don't know. I can play this week. Are you open to playing this week?
I'm talking about this past week when I texted you twice to say, hey, do you want to play?
You didn't text me about nothing.
Bullshit.
Bullshit you did. We can have this little bitch fest off air. But, I don't know. I want to...
Yeah, because he doesn't want to be proven wrong, that's all.
You know, I was looking through the PlayStation Plus catalog for, like, spooky October games, because they do have it set up for that. But also, like I said, I was looking through it, and it's like, do you ever listen to, like, Spotify, and you go to, like, a playlist of, like, Halloween music, and, like, you listen to the first 5 songs, it's like, yeah, feels like Halloween. And then after that, if they start stretching for, like, Halloween songs, you're like, this is kind of... It's kind of like that with the PlayStation Plus catalog. So, I don't know. I feel like I've kind of exhausted a lot of the spooky games I want to play. Maybe there's a gym in there. I'll check and see if there's anything on sale. Because I have been wanting to see if they put any deals up there. But I got High on Life. I got the High on Life DLC, High on Knife. And, who knows from there? I mean, I would like to start Gears of War. But like I said, if there's a co-op campaign trophy, it doesn't make any sense for me to play through the game once and then play through the game again on co-op. I might as well just play with Tricky co-op if he ever wants to play.
Wow.
But no, I do appreciate that they also themed this around Halloween, giving us Until Dawn and other selections. I think that is really good. People get really into Halloween. I think it's a lot of people. When you get to be an adult, I think it's like a lot of people's favorite holiday. So it's very important that, like, if you're smart, you can take advantage of that. And, like, it's not, and like I said, take advantage like it's a negative thing, but like if you give people what they want in the theming, like they'll be happy customers. So it's kind of like a double win. Like it's a win-win for Sony or, you know, whatever game maker and customers. When it's Halloween, make sure you get the Halloween shit out there.
It's definitely not everybody's favorite holiday up here because people's Christmas decorations are already up. It's like people forget about Halloween and Thanksgiving all together and just like, oh, it's Christmas time.
Yeah, but I mean, some people are like that. I mean, look, I get that Christmas is, yeah, sure. Christmas, if you ask somebody's favorite holiday, chances are they're going to say their Christmas or Halloween. Thanksgiving might get a few mentions because people like to eat, but I don't know. I would say that Halloween is probably more often than not the favorite holiday for adults. Because, like, Christmas loses a lot of the appeal when you're, like, after you're a kid. Because when you're a kid, obviously, you wake up, it's like, oh, I got to rip open all these presents. When you're an adult, it's more about the giving. And I'm not saying people don't enjoy that. It's more about togetherness. It's more about spending time with people you love. So, it definitely changes. There's a shift. Whereas, like, Halloween, like, yeah, you're not going out with getting candy as, like, a 32-year-old. But you get to decorate. You can still dress up and go to parties. Like, I don't know. There's, like, people's workplaces allow them to dress up for Halloween. So, I don't know. I just feel like people they get more out of Halloween as adults than they do for Christmas.
I get more out of Christmas because I get to watch my daughter open gifts. So, that's why I enjoy Christmas. You're right on the fact that, like, don't buy me a gift. I get my enjoyment of watching.
Well, I'm not saying don't buy me gifts but I mean, like, I definitely do enjoy giving presents. Like, I appreciate being a thoughtful gift buyer. Like, my dad, not to throw my dad under the bus, but my dad is one of those guys who likes to get gift cards for people. and like it's nice to receive a gift, but I like to actually like think about someone and what they enjoy, and I like to give them a thoughtful gift. Like that's something I take pride in. So I do understand that aspect of it, but it's just in the people that I hang out with and the circles that I run in, like Halloween is a lot bigger than Christmas.
14 years, still have never received a Christmas gift from Alex.
Your Christmas gift is
in the mail?
I don't want to say that. No, yeah, it got lost in the mail. And I gave up on USPS a long time ago.
Yeah, I feel you. The only thing I'm going to be playing out of this is Until Dawn. I really want to go back and play that again.
I mean,
I'm happy I can get.
I've thought about going back to play
to
Hellblade, but also like, I mean, Until Dawn, like I know what happens, I know how the story plays out, so it just doesn't have the same impact, you know. I mean, it's.
I heard, and I don't know if there's any truth to this, but I heard the ending's different.
Why would they do that? I don't like that.
I don't know. The movie ending was different. Maybe they went and updated the game to change the ending of the game.
I mean, if you want to add an ending to the ones that were already in there, but like changing the game, the story, because like Until Dawn obviously is a narrative. It's very, very based on the story, and to just like have two different versions, like I'm not too keen on that. Just so you can encourage people to buy it and play it again, even if they already played it. That's weird.
Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if it's true. I'm just telling you. That's what I heard.
Well, what's your source? Who's this source? Where did you hear this from?
People that played it.
The scuttlebutt. Well, either those people are lying to you, or that's the way it is. I mean, would know.
Possible. It's possible. I guess I'll find out when I play it. Because there was only one trophy in the original game that I hated trying to get, because you had to go through the entire chapter, and the last part of the chapter is when you had to get the trophy. And I kept failing.
Was that the one where you couldn't have anybody die?
No, it was I don't remember the name of the trophy, but it was the one where you were the skinny white guy with the glasses and you were running back to the cabin.
I think his name was Chris.
Well, whatever. And you basically like had to fend off the attack, and I kept getting my head chopped off.
So the first character that died in that game for me, in my playthrough, I was like, holy shit. Like, it shocked the shit out of me. Now, like, I don't know. I dislike the way they handle the trophies for these games. It's kind of why I don't want to play Detroit Become Human. Like, the whole Heavy Rain thing where, like, you got to play to get all the endings. Like, I hate that. Like, I want to play the game the way I want to play the game and get the story that I get, and I want to be done with it. You know, so that is one thing that irks me about these games is the trophy list, because it's just like some games shouldn't have a trophy list, I think. I mean, I guess I understand why Sony mandated it, but it feels like a game that shouldn't have a trophy list because you should just experience it throughout. Because there's also collectibles like the totems. So then you got to look up a guide for the totems for a game that's supposed to be just about your experience. I don't know. I feel like Until Dawn is a game that just should not have had a trophy list.
That's a bold statement there.
Do you disagree?
No, I like the fact that it has multiple endings and you have to go through it several times.
You just watch it on YouTube then. Like, why? I don't know. It just feels like... I don't know. It feels like you should play it the way that everything unfolds and make the decisions you want to make, and then that's what you get. But just playing it over and over again, making different decisions just to get collectibles, it's I don't know. It just doesn't... That's not the way I want to play one of those games, which is why I don't really play any of those games.
So, Matt, if you did have PlayStation Plus, which one of these games would you be playing?
Well, I mean, I did play a bunch of them already, so it's not like I haven't had experience. I've beaten Silent Hill 2. I've beaten Until Dawn. I actually just got V Rising in a Humble Bundle, so I'm going to give that a try. I love Like a Dragon. Poppy Playtime, I haven't played, but I definitely enjoy it. It is a asymmetrical horror game. You're being hunted by something and you've got to survive. You have no way to really fight back. At Dusk Falls, not sure. Wizard with a Gun I already have on Steam and I've played. And yeah, so that rounds out. Yeah, I've had experience with most of these. I actually think this is a really good month for extra and premium if you subscribe to that.
Guess you should have bought the year instead of buying Ghost of Tsushima again.
It would have been a waste of a month for me. I played all these already.
But now you'd have them in your library.
Until my subscription expires. Whereas Ghost of Tsushima, I now have my Steam library. You're not making a strong case for me having spent money.
I'm making a strong case. You just trying
Alex?
to fight me. You're
Tricky,
you're pulling an Alex right now.
Tricky, you should know when to cut your losses. This is not going to get you anywhere.
Oh, and speaking of cutting losses, gentlemen, I'm saying this officially on the air. You're not going to wear me down into getting a platinum. You're not going to figure out how to finagle me into getting a platinum just because you want it.
Oh, I'm going to get you a platinum.
Yeah, you keep thinking that.
It's rather ominous, probably more ominous than you meant it, but no, like I said, you just got to find the right game, man. Like, there's got to be a game that's just a story straight shot through where you get a trophy just for getting through, and then you're gonna, the kind of trophies you love, like the check mark or the checkpoint trophies, where it's like beat this boss, get to this point level. Like
you should just play Telltale's The Walking Dead.
Yeah, I played that on Steam already. Why would I go back and play it again?
Because they just released the collector's edition. They have all the Walking Deads in one game.
Why am I going to do that?
Because you get to experience the story, and then all your saves go the same. So when you play Walking Dead 2, all your choices from the first game transfer over.
Yeah, that sounds really boring.
Good experience.
Here's the problem with The Walking Dead.
Alex.
Yeah.
Don't talk him out of it.
He's not going to do it, Tricky. You already.
I know he's not going to do it, but
so.
I know he's not going to do it. The point is that if he played The Walking Dead from start to finish, he has to get a platinum. That's the joke I was trying to go to.
Aren't there? There's a couple trophies in there that you actually have to go out of your way to get, right?
No, the first one was just play the game. The second one you had to go back.
So, here's the thing. The problem with that series is,
here we go.
Who the fuck cares about any of the games past the first one? The first one was so good, all of them by comparison beyond that, who gives a shit?
And by the time they got to the final chapters, that was when the whole issue with Telltale and everything was really going down, and it took a quality hit. So, yeah, that sounds really boring. Anyways.
I think the last one was actually done by Skydance.
Well, either way. All right, we're moving on. Not really for discussion, just one to make sure everybody was aware that we've had two unfortunate passings this week. First one, Tomonobu Itagaki, who was the creator of Ninja Gaiden 2004 and the Dead or Alive series, has passed away. And then D'Angelo, who was a Grammy-winning R&B and soul star, he performed the Unshaken song that was in Red Dead Redemption 2. Unfortunately, he passed away at 51 after pancreatic cancer. And I'm going to say the Ninja Gaiden series, Dead or Alive, definitely storied series within gaming history. And then that song in Red Dead Redemption 2 was a very emotional gut punch that a lot of people loved. So just some news related to gaming that is unfortunate, but we definitely send condolences to their families and the fans of the series and the song. So unfortunately things do happen, but they definitely made an impact in gaming. Next up, coming from the gamer, GOG, also known as Good Old Games. The article came up to talk about how the firm had to hire a private investigator, especially in one instance, to track down intellectual property rights holders to be able to get games onto their service. And this comes from an interview that Marcin Pazinski, GOG's senior business developer, opened up just how difficult game preservation could be, and said it's harder than they thought, that they found out that games work, the way they work has deteriorated way faster. And they're not only talking about games not launching, but they're talking about more subtle things like games not supporting modern controllers or not supporting ultra widescreen. And on top of those, they had to worry about the IPs. And it said in one time they had to hire a private investigator to find someone living off the grid in the UK. This person had unknowingly inherited the rights to several games, but was super supportive that they wanted to preserve his family's legacy. So it's just a funny little story that Good Old Games, for those of you who don't know, is a website that sells digital video games, mostly a lot of old stuff, and they do sell a lot of new stuff too. And their entire theme is you can download the exe files. You don't need our launcher. You don't need our system. You can download these files, keep them backed up. You know, not saying that you should, but you can install them on as many computers as you want. You know, if that happens to mean that you're sharing it with friends, okay. But we believe so strongly in game preservation that you can go out there and download these files. And their GOG launcher is actually pretty decent. It actually pulls in all of the games from all of the other platforms. So it's a pretty neat thing in and of itself. But I just think it was funny story of how they're doing what they can to be able to preserve games that we grew up loving and playing and want to be able to play again. So I don't know, Alex, what did you think when you saw this story?
All right, so I'm a little confused, Matt, with the because I'm not I don't use Good Old Games. I see the title, but do you mind like what is the crux of this? Because
the fact that intellectual property laws make it so difficult to keep games alive that you have to get the rights transferred to you to be able to even publish it. That you have to track down people who may no longer be alive because they own the rights. It's an article on like the modern gaming issue.
So what it seems is like Good Old Games, unlike a lot of people, they're doing a lot for the sake of game preservation with this. Is that the way I'm reading into this correctly?
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously we're all like Good Old Games owned by CD Projekt Red. You know, if I owned a if I owned a PC, I definitely think Good Old Games is something I would invest more in. But I mean, it's a extremely popular place to play games. They do a lot of older games. But what you said that you could actually download the exe files and like share them with people, and they don't really care about anything like that.
Yep.
I mean, that's very user friendly. I mean, because a lot of the games they probably have on that service, I would imagine, and Matt, you can correct if I'm wrong on this, but it doesn't seem like they're games that people are publishing or that people are profiting off a ton. Is that a fair statement?
Well, a lot of their games are games that are no longer being published on other platforms. You can't find them. You can't, if you have a CD from like 2003 or 1995, if you put it in your PC, you're not going to be able to really launch it or run it on a current system. Part of what their preservation project is they do the coding, they do the programming themselves to make it run on a Windows 10 or a Windows 11, whereas it might not have before. Maybe it was a DOS-box game. So they're doing a lot to try to make old games that we loved growing up accessible to today's audience.
Which, hell yeah. I mean, it's very on brand, Good Old Games. It's a focus on, because, you know, you could be in the marketplace and you could try to sell new games, but what they offer and what they're trying to do for, you know, people who play games is something that really it seems like it's kind of ahead of the time. Like, Good Old Games has been around for a while, and what they're trying to do is kind of very much a different thing than what most other, you know, game sites are about. So the fact that, you know, they do this kind of stuff, that they have Good Old Games and run Good Old Games, and they're trying to make sure that games basically don't go extinct, like you can find them and play them, you know, to the best of their ability. It's only a positive, and it kind of fits in with the current landscape of as we move further and further from the advent of video games, you kind of look back and you see all the holes about where, you know, oh shit, you know, this game that I played when I was younger is lost time and you can't find it. And so we have this kind of issue where people are looking now, it's like, okay, game preservation is becoming a more and more talked about topic. And here you have Good Old Games, like they're they're putting in the work and have had the established base now for a while to help with that. So it just seems like a very positive step for, people who just love playing games and don't want games to just be forgotten.
Okay. Tricky, what's your take on this game preservation model?
I have no opinion.
Wow, awesome. Good input, thanks.
Sorry. It's like I don't care about PC gaming.
Well, you're saying that you don't care about game preservation.
I didn't say that. I said I don't care about PC gaming.
I asked you what your thought was on this game preservation model.
I know, but yeah, I have no opinion.
Great input. Thanks, Tricky. On to the next story. Coming.
Tricky, I don't think you understand is that all this stuff goes in hand in hand. So if we start working towards preservation on the PC, you can start working on preservation in other areas. Maybe Sony and Nintendo and these other companies take notice of what CD Projekt Red is doing, and they're like, because
no, Tricky's just happy with paying for PS Plus Premium and Sony benevolently giving him the ability to stream old games until he no longer has to maintain the service.
At least until 2038.
Yeah, by that time you'll be playing on the PlayStation 7. All right.
Probably.
Next article coming from Eurogamer.net. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 still has secrets fans haven't found, says the director. Guillaume Broche discussed his inspiration on the game taken from Final Fantasy games. For instance, there's a reference to Final Fantasy VIII, specifically in the Gestrel Village, with character swapping double dyad cards in nod to the game's triple triad card game. So he goes on in the interview and just says, there's still plenty of secrets. I don't want to say them because then they'll be discovered. And that kind of always starts like a hunt. People then start going in and be like, what else is there? Is there like an actual secret weapon or an outfit, or is it just like a simple nod to another game? So he goes on to say that, the crowd playing the game is living up to his expectations, that he's really enjoying what he's hearing and seeing from the players, and that he wants to make sure that people continue to enjoy the game, maybe spend a little bit more time in the world. I don't know, Alex, do you see this as kind of just another way to get people engaged in the game again after its initial launch, or do you just think he's generally having fun?
For something that I think that it can be both, but I think that these secrets are in there and the game designers want them to be found eventually, whether someone just happens upon it on their own or whether they're given a little push. You don't put something like secrets in a game for them never to be found. Like the Rocksteady didn't put that secret room in Arkham Asylum, which basically told you Arkham City was coming, thinking you were never going to find it. You don't put that in there if you don't want people to see it. So eventually, even though you had to put explosives on a wall that was very unassuming, it didn't look like it would be it could be bombed or anything. Eventually, they knew it would be found, even if they had to tell people, hey guys, you might want to look for something. So I think it's a good way to put interest back in the game, but also I think that it's just a nice little fun thing. Secrets are there. You don't want people to find them right away. You make people want to work for them. But I don't see a point of putting a secret in there if just you're the only one that knows it's there. So I definitely think that the creators want people to see this, and this just is like a little nudge. Although I think it's really cool. The game came out, I think, last year. It hasn't been out
this year.
Was it this year?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's... I always appreciate when you find out, it's always a cool story when, there's secrets in a game that's, 10 years old or something like that. I don't know. For it to come out, it's less exciting for me when it's up, maybe 6 months after the game's released and people are like, there's secrets. I kind of prefer that people let it cook for a little longer, because if, the people who made the game came out 2 years from now or 5 years from now and said, hey, there were secrets you guys never found, I feel like that's a much cooler story than this. But again, it all goes with what you were saying, Matt. Maybe it's a way to get people playing again, to keep people talking again. I don't know. But I do think it's just from a genuine desire to, have people play the game, to, want to find the secrets.
Hey, Alex, sorry to jump in. I have to step away for a second. Tricky takeover.
Sure.
Yeah. No, I think the designers want the secrets to be found, but it's less impressive that it's like, oh, secrets still never found. The game came out this year. Like, have people really had time to? Yeah, people have probably beaten the game, explored as much as they were, but usually it takes time to find stuff like that. So it's less impressive of a time frame, but people, you make a game, you build the entire world, you want people to explore every inch of it. Just like for the sake of people make a game, they want you to finish it. They don't want you to get through halfway through the story and just quit on the game. So it all makes sense.
It's all bullshit.
What do you mean it's all bullshit?
Come on. If you had secrets hidden in a game and you're purposely hiding them so people don't find them, you don't come out and say, oh, there's secrets you haven't found yet. You let people find them organically. The same thing with frickin' Arkham Asylum. That room did not exist at launch. That room was not in there. They patched the game, they put it in there, and they go, oh, you guys never found something. And then people went looking. This is solely a reason for people to keep playing the game and talking about the game because the hype is dying off. This is bullshit. There are secrets in the game, but they patched them in afterwards. They were not there at launch. This is a marketing ploy. That's solely what this is.
So wait, do you know for a fact they added that room in after in Arkham Asylum?
Yes. I talked to the devs. The same thing they did in Arkham City to boast about Arkham Knight. They patched it in afterwards. This is a marketing ploy. This is to get people to talk about the game. And it's a great marketing ploy because you're putting secrets out there and you're getting people to play the game more. Great. I support that. But don't act like, oh, these secrets have been in the game since launch. It's bullshit. You're lying to your fan base to drive up artificial hype for a game that already has such good press. People love this game at launch. They praised it. They were calling it Game of the Year contender. Now the hype is starting to die off, and you patch in this because it says right in the article they patched the game to fix something. You don't think they patched it in these secrets at the same exact time? Come on. Don't. As a former host, don't be a stupid gamer. You know this is a marketing ploy. Don't fall for it. If you love the game, go play it. Love that. I fully support the fact that you want to play the game. Got no problem with that. But don't bullshit your fans.
I mean, like I said, I think it could be multi-purpose. I think it could be a multifunctional move. Yeah, you could get people talking about the game like we're talking about it now. So you get it in the news. But again, if people haven't found your secrets, sometimes you just want to give them that little nudge. Like I said, I kind of agree with you, give people time to find it, because it's a much cooler story if it takes years for stuff to be found. Like, that's always like, we have nostalgia for things, and calling back to things is definitely like a nice, like it just gives you that warm, fuzzy feeling. But for a game that was released this year, it's just not as impressive to be like, oh, secrets still haven't been found. Well, yeah. So, I mean, I understand that, but also, like, I don't just think that this is a marketing ploy. Yes, that can be part of it, but I think it's dual purpose.
Listen, I'm just saying, don't lie to your fans. That's all I'm saying. Come in and say, hey, we patched in some secrets. Go play our game again, and people would gladly go back and play the game.
Yeah, but I'm not going to assume that they just patched it in. Like, sometimes stuff is hard to find. You can make stuff hard to find.
You don't think, taking Arkham Asylum, you don't think somebody bombed every freaking wall in there and only to find out, what was it, 2, 3, 4 years later, somebody found that wall?
That's a very large game. Well, first of all, I don't know if was it a user who found it, or did Rocksteady help people find it?
A user found it.
So, I mean, do I think that somebody went through that entire place and bombed every wall? Why? Like, why would you do that? Just on the chance? Like, it's a very large game, a very large building. You're going to spend all that time doing that with the potential of no reward whatsoever?
You don't think somebody was burning every bush, bombing every wall inside the original Zelda?
Well, hold on. The original Zelda, that's a much smaller game than Arkham Asylum. It's a very hard comparison to make.
Okay, I just looked it up. According to AI, the room was found 6 months after launch.
And who knows? Sometimes people can look at the code of a game and see things that like were hidden in the code but taken out of the game, but still there are remnants left in there. There was like a story, Ratchet and Clank. There were some items that were not fully functional in the game, but they were left in the code. That's how people found hot coffee in GTA San Andreas. So yeah, people can go into the code and find things and look at like, oh, this is, either upcoming DLC or there's traces of this. So there may be, a secret here. I don't know. I don't remember exactly how the room was found. But if you're going to sit here and ask me, hey, Alex, do you think somebody went through and bombed? Because you had to put like 2 or 3 bombs specifically on this wall. And I don't know if somebody, I don't know. Here's the thing. I can't imagine myself ever doing anything that crazy. So why, or like that big of a waste of my time. So why would I expect somebody else to do it? Congratulations, you found a room that hinted at Arkham City. I mean, that's cool, but guess what? I played through Arkham City and didn't spend all that time looking for that room. Like, I just don't know why somebody would do that.
Because people do that type of stuff. They go through and they just bomb everything.
Well, people have too much time on their hands. I'll say that.
I'll agree with you on that, but there are some people out there that just do that. And I don't think people could have looked in the code on this because I don't think this was released on PC back then. I think the PC release came later. I could be wrong about that too. All right, moving on. Our next topic is coming from Polygon and is written by Oli Welsh. I don't have Matt's notes here, but his headline says, if Xbox Ally is the future of Xbox, Microsoft is in trouble. I don't have any choice but to read the article because I didn't do it before. So perhaps the trickiest question to answer about the Rogue Xbox Ally handheld is seriously how to take it. It's such an unusual project. It's an Xbox, everything else apparently, but it also isn't. For one thing, it's not made by Microsoft. For another, it doesn't play Xbox games. The Ally is a PC gaming handheld manufactured by Asus and its latest iteration of the Rogue Ally range. I don't want to read all this. The Ally is intended to be a console-like, but it is crucially not a console. It is a Windows PC, and it plays Windows PC games. It won't play your library of Xbox games natively unless they have PC versions compatible with Xbox Play Anywhere, the Xbox service that does allow 1,000 games to seamlessly across platforms. It can stream from the cloud, or directly from your Xbox. So this is sounding like a PC / PlayStation Portal. You still need an Xbox to play it and to play your games. So I'm trying to give Matt some time to get back here to explain this more. But Alex, I'll go with you. The 2 versions are $600 and $1,000. Do you think this is a bad move for Xbox?
I think releasing a thing at $1,000 is a bad move for Xbox. I don't care what its capabilities are. It's just, will somebody buy it? Sure. Is it going to be a success to the point where it's, worth all the R&D that went into it and the partnership with AMD? I mean, I don't think so. $1,000 handheld. Like, no. No, thank you. I don't want to spend $1,000 on a home console. It's just ridiculous. Yeah, nothing about this. The days of dedicated handhelds, like the DS or the Game Boy, they're pretty much done. We're not going to see that again. I don't think Sony's going to do anything like that, which is why we got something like the PlayStation Portal, which kind of gives players some kind of handheld, but it plays games that you bought on your, other systems. So, first and foremost, again, the price tag is this thing's dead in the water. I don't know who wants to spend that much money on this. Again, there will be some people, and I'm not trying to insult people by, them saying, or by them spending that much money on it, but it just feels like the price tag is a killer. Why? Why do I want to, yeah.
All right, reading a little bit down here, it says, hold on, let me find it where it says, the $600 version is a close match for a mid-range Steam Deck OLED in terms of spec and power. As such, it should be capable of jack of all trades, if not quite powerful enough to handle the latest AAA releases. At $1,000, built around AMD's new Ryzen Z2 Extreme processor with 24 gigs of RAM as well as 1 terabyte of storage, the Ally X ought to be able to smash through that AAA barrier. Yeah. If I'm spending $600 or $1,000 on a handheld, it better be able to play my games natively. That's all I'm going to say. So, I wish I could give you more of this, but I haven't had time to read all of this, and Matt's not back yet, so we're going to have to move on. When Matt comes back, he wants to recap this, we can do that. But at this point, I am going to move on to we don't have any list of questions, but just to annoy Joe.
Time to check my social media, yeah.
All right. And now to our topic of the week.
Toe. Topic of the week. Well, fine then. Fuck you, Matt.
Coming from VideoGamesChronicle.com, written by Andy Robinson. Sucker Punch will remain a single project studio after Ghost of Yotei, the boss has suggested. The head quote here says, if we're good at juggling 4 projects yet, we have a remaster, but we only get to do one thing. This is coming from speculations that they could possibly be working on another Sly Cooper or possibly going back to Infamous. And right now, people are suggesting that they are on hold, waiting to see if people want DLC for Ghost of Yotei. So, again, I don't have Matt's notes here, so I'm going to just ask you a general question. Alex, do you think a developer should focus on one game at a time or should be focusing on several games at a time?
Very much dependent upon the capabilities of the studio, how many people they have working there, their resources. I mean, in general, I think for the games that Sucker Punch works on, like Ghost of Yotei and Ghost of Tsushima most recently, they're very large games. Very big. So to get it right, to be respectful to the source material, and just to make a great experience where it's a fun game and you can deliver on that big open world with plenty to do, splitting that team in half would be a massive mistake. Now, within the team, you have different things you can do. You've got people working on post-launch content, bug fixes. Maybe you have the team eventually working on a new game. But to me, the formula for working on, especially the types of games Sucker Punch wants to make and Sony kind of specializes in, the one game approach seems to work just well. I mean, they could spit out a Sly Cooper game pretty easily back in the day, but with what they're working with now, it's just a bit too much to ask of them. I mean, we have the example of Insomniac, but again, Insomniac has multiple studios, and I would assume that they have, at least double the headcount that, say, Sucker Punch has. So for some studios, you can work on multiple games. But really, inside of Sony, most of the studios are working on one game apiece. That's what they work on. Sony Santa Monica, Polyphony, you look at Housemarque, you look at Naughty Dog. They're all, but Naughty Dog may have been working on the multiplayer game, the multiplayer Last of Us game, while they were starting the new game. But, for the most part, Sony Studios work on one game apiece. And that's what they do. Except for Insomniac, who has multiple studios. But yeah, focusing on the game, especially when you're making games like this, I think is best. One game, and focus on that game, get it out the door, then focus on whatever you want to do post-launch, and if you need to move on to another game, then have everyone move on to another game. But I don't know if Insomniac's big enough to work on two. I don't know if Sucker Punch is big enough to work on two without hampering their ability to make the games they want to make.
I'm back.
Hey man, Tricky had to step away, so I said we moved on to the topic of the week. And I said my feelings on that. But did we want to circle back around to the Xbox thing? Because I don't know if you had your own thoughts on that. And of course, Tricky hadn't pre-read the article, so he basically was just reading the article and kind of left us hanging in the wind. So I don't know if you had anything specific you wanted to say about Xbox, and then
so
if you wanted to go back to that.
Yeah, so I'll go back to that in the aspect of when I saw that. Listen, there's a $600 device and a $1,000 device. Obviously, Xbox is trying to corner a market that, Steam has been and Valve have been enjoying for the past 2-3 years. And I think the article just talks about that. It's kind of underwhelming that you're not getting a great experience for the price you're paying. Whereas Steam, like, it just inherently has everything built into it. So I just think spend your money wisely, because honestly, the Asus ROG series is a decent gaming system, but like Xbox wanted to leverage and capitalize on the handheld market, because it's not like Sony's going there anytime soon, though the rumors, if anything, say that they might be. So I don't know. I think it's neat, but also people tend to forget that the Steam Deck, you can actually install Windows on that. And that was the one advantage that they were trying to push with this ROG Ally, that you can install Windows and play all the different games that you may not have accessible on the Steam Deck. But the Steam Deck, you could do just that. So is it worth paying $1,000, $600 for an updated handheld that may be able to play more of the recent games? The thing that I think they're missing is that the Steam Deck, its power is not necessarily playing in the latest and greatest. It's playing your massive backlog of games. Now, being that this is a Windows-based machine, you could still install Steam and play a lot of those games as well. But you can get a budget handheld from Steam before you have to pay for $1,000 ROG Ally, or maybe the $600 version, which puts it more in line with the Steam Deck OLED 1 terabyte device. I think Xbox has a lot of soul searching to do to break into the handheld market. And I think they just, they saw Asus and said, listen, you build it. We're just going to put out the software. And the article talks about how the software isn't the greatest. It's not the best experience. And maybe they'll update that over time. But for this purpose, maybe you're better off saving your money and spending it elsewhere.
I mean, does the price tag make it dead in the water?
I think having two versions, and if I remember, the $600 version just, I think, has less RAM or something. I forget. Sorry, it was a little hectic over here. I didn't get to fully read it by the time it was being discussed. But handheld PC gaming is still very niche. It's not. Valve has been doing great, but it's certainly not like millions upon millions sold like maybe the Switch or the DS. So I don't think it's dead in the water. I think it's just going to be a very niche product that somebody is going to enjoy.
And I don't know. I don't think that mass sales like home consoles are the only way to find success. But if you're only going to meet a niche market for this kind of thing, meet the demand of a niche market, what the hell's the point of all the R&D and just building and using all these resources to build this damn thing?
Well, I think the benefit...
Doesn't Microsoft have a lot more things they need to focus on with their Xbox brand?
Well, that's why they were basically outsourcing the design of this to Asus. Asus built the machine. They R&D'd the specs. But Xbox, built the software that went into it, the customized Xbox dashboard. And, that's all part of their plan, as much as other people want to say, as much as our decision or our discussions have gone into it, there isn't so much a console. They're a platform now to push xCloud and Game Pass. That's what they want people to do. They don't care what device it's on. So if ROG says, hey, we can make a system that plays a lot of the latest games and maybe the next 2 years we'll be able to play releases, Xbox says, great, we'll develop the user interface and just brand it, and we'll share in some of those sales. Obviously, our Asus is already pushing out these handhelds. Now it was just a matter of making it so that way it could be Xbox branded. That's all I got on that.
I was gonna say maybe you can clear this up. So, is this kind of like you are playing games you already own for the Xbox on this system, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you need an Xbox for this purpose, or do you just need access to a library that you purchase from and then they can play on this thing?
It's a handheld gaming PC, so you're loading up the Xbox app and you have access to your Xbox games. But like I said, you can also load up Steam and have access to your Steam games. You could load up Epic and GOG and have access to those games as well. It's a Windows handheld PC.
Okay, you just need an Xbox account. You don't need an Xbox console.
Correct.
Okay, yeah, I keep questioning what is the I keep questioning what is the purpose of these things, but again, clearly I was not a fan of the Portal. I never bought a Steam Deck. To me, I don't play games outside the home because I have a phone, so I'm clearly not the market. But for me, it's just kind of a tough sell to have to spend that much money when I don't want to spend that much money on a home console, on another device just to play out and about. But I get it. Microsoft they want to get you away from that home box, but at the same time, they're getting away from that just to sell you another console. This one just smaller. I don't really know. I guess I just don't really understand Microsoft's strategy at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's a portable PC, just handheld.
Well, we'll see how it does, but
yeah, well, I think there was an article a couple weeks ago where they were talking about it, where they said Asus and ROG wanted a certain amount of sales to really push something else, some other piece of hardware, and Xbox was unable to commit to that. They wanted millions of sales, and Xbox was like, eh. So I think that fed into part of the deal.
Okay. Gotcha. I mean, yet Microsoft and Xbox are just in a very tenuous spot right now. Like they've got a lot of the customer, confidence in them has eroded, which is not what you want when you're getting ready to launch the Ally, or you've got that in the pipeline to have people look at you and be like, "What the fuck is your all's plan going forward?" I certainly want to buy. Right, I've never been like an Xbox guy, but I certainly wouldn't want to buy into the brand right now because there's too much confusion.
Yeah, well, like I said, and this is something I think everybody agrees with, is Xbox isn't interested in selling you consoles anymore. They're interested in selling you a platform. And that's why they're pushing this hardware part off to Asus, because they figure, well, Asus will get a cut, but every Game Pass sale on this easier to use system is gonna, it's as many adopters into this as possible. Xbox is no longer interested in. The thing,
though, Matt, is they are still selling you a console.
Well, they're not selling the console. Asus is selling you a console.
But
this is an Asus machine.
But so wait, I had it confused. Is AMD is part of this, right?
Well, AMD makes the chip that goes into it.
Okay, that's the part that
Yeah. And that was, I think that was the deal. It was AMD said we wanted a certain amount of sales, and Xbox was not able to commit to that.
Probably because Microsoft understands that, well, you look at their home console sales and then you look at this thing, it's like,
Yeah, that's...
they also probably looked at Steam Deck sales.
Well, and that's the other part, is you talk about it and say, in a way, you can look at Xbox consoles and they go, listen, you're a handheld PC. We're not locking the consumers into Xbox. Xbox has branded it. We have a custom user interface for it, so that way we can actually put our games on it easier. So it benefits us that you sell the unit, and having an Xbox brand kind of points people in that direction to show the primary use of it. But beyond that, it's just they want to sell you Game Pass and they want to let Asus handle the console sales, quote unquote.
But the problem is if you can't play Xbox games natively on it, isn't that just a problem for Microsoft in itself?
But you can play Xbox games natively on it.
that according to the article, you couldn't. You only could play it under certain conditions.
Well, you would have to play it under the Xbox banner. So like you would have to install the Xbox user interface, but it still has to be a PC game. You can't, like, if there's an Xbox game that is console only, you're not going to be able to play that.
Right. It says you won't be able to play your library of Xbox games natively unless they also have PC versions compatible with the Xbox Play Anywhere.
Yes. This has to, you have to have, it has to be a PC version. This is a PC handheld with Xbox branding and an Xbox user interface. When you stepped away, I was telling Alex, you can then go install Steam. You can then go install Epic, GOG, all these other services because it's just a Windows-based machine.
You don't think Microsoft is going to try to block that?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. Sorry, I had to step away. But Matt, let's get back. Let's go back to the topic of the week. Unless you got more to say about the Ally. No.
I'm sorry. Which one are we talking about?
Okay. Do you have anything else to say about the Ally?
No.
Or are you done with that?
We're done with that.
Okay. All right. Let's get back to the topic of the week, where we talk about Sucker Punch is going to remain a single project studio. Sorry, Alex, I had to step away. Matt, I'll let you go first, and I'll give my opinions. What I asked Alex was, do you think a studio should remain a single project studio where they focus on one game, or do you think they should be working on multiple games at one time?
I mean, it depends on the studio. Sucker Punch has obviously done wonders with
Good answer, Matt.
being able to focus on one game at a time. However, you get a company like Insomniac who can juggle a couple different projects and still push out high quality.
Matt
It really
and I are
depends.
the same person, Tricky. Matt and I are the same person.
I was about to say, you literally give it the same answer, Alex.
Which is fine. It's fine because it just shows how smart I am.
Well, that's yes, you are smart, but don't contribute my answer to your brilliance. Listen, it depends on the size of the studio. Like if Sucker Punch, let's say they have 30 people and they focus on one game at a time, and then Insomniac has 60 people and they can focus on two games at a time. It's just, I think it speaks to their philosophy on what they want to do and the type of games that they want to make. And hopefully that helps them make games that sell well. Otherwise, you get a studio like Bungie who goes, how much money can we siphon off these people through this live service? It's just, it's their call. Hopefully they do well enough that PlayStation doesn't come in there and say, hey, what you're doing isn't working. We need to change your process.
I mean, me personally, I'd like a studio, no matter its size, to focus on one game at a time. The problem is right now, like Sucker Punch just launched Ghost of Yotei, and it's good to focus on that. But then I saw another article saying that they're currently on a holding pattern to see what gamers want from it, if they want DLC, whatnot. I think there should be some part of the studio also that's working on what other people want, because it's like the end of this article says the director of the Infamous series recently said he'd love to revisit the franchise one day, but suggested there's no plans currently on the table for it. People have been clamoring for an Infamous remake for years now. The last Infamous we got was a launch game for the PS4. People want to revisit Infamous. I think they'd make a shitload of money if they re-release masters of them, especially 2 or 3 generations later. It sucks, but I also think there is some kind of I don't want to say quality issue, but I guess quality issue is the best way to describe it. If a studio is splitting their focus, they're not making the best game they possibly could.
Oh, unless they have the leeway to do that. You like, it all depends on the final product. Like, honestly, if, again, I go back to the example of 30 people at Sucker Punch, 60 people at Insomniac. If Sucker Punch is making a more simplified game, and then Insomniac is making 2 highly complex games, those aren't the same thing. It's completely different philosophies. So Sucker Punch wants to do this to focus on the types of games that they want to make to the level of complexity and artistic style that they've been known for. To do anything different might be their undoing. Insomniac obviously can do multiple projects at a time. And yes, if Sucker Punch goes back and says, hey, if we have a little extra leeway, maybe somebody can work on this Infamous remaster or re-release, then, they'll do what they're going to do. But I think what they're doing is working for them, and there's no reason to change.
Also, I want to push back on something Tricky said. The only way people want Infamous remasters is if they know we're not getting another one. Like, give me a sequel, don't give me a remaster. Don't do that. Now,
but if
it takes
a
remake to, rekindle, like, for them to say, hey, we'll give you a sequel, but we want to see how well a remake sells. And they do a remake, sells well. All right, you know what? These people want Infamous. They're foaming at the fucking mouth. Let's do a sequel. But no one's going to ask for a remaster first and foremost.
Well, that was going to be my question: is what if the remaster reignites the flames that people start saying we want another?
It could, but a lot of times, I feel like when people make that decision, a lot of times that stuff is already in the works. Like releasing stuff on PlayStation Plus for like Twisted Metal. I get it. The last Twisted Metal didn't sell well, and it's not even though it was a massive series for Sony on the PlayStation, it's one of their most successful franchises. Or like really, like when you think about what Sony owned back in the day, they really heavily relied on Twisted Metal. But nowadays, and back in 2012. Not so much, and it didn't do as well as they thought. So I get why they shelved Twisted Metal. But there's the new show. There's the games being released on PlayStation Plus in the Classics catalog. You now have 4 of them on there. Twisted Metal Black it's basically the Skyrim of car combat games, where it's been on every single Sony console known to man, since it was originally released. So I feel like, yeah, sometimes like with a game like that, maybe it's like, we'll see what the reaction is and then we'll go off of that. But sometimes I think that it's like a setup, like, hey, we're going to release this and then we've already got the game plan. We're already working on the game. We'll use the remaster as marketing. And when the next game comes out, people will be really excited for it. But I don't think people are just like, I think people are tired of remasters. And I don't think people are like, oh, let's play an Infamous remaster. No, let's play a new game or like a remake. Rebuild the first one from the ground fucking up with PlayStation 5 graphics. Don't give me a remaster. That's, I don't want to say lazy because it still takes work, but no, like don't go for the lowest hanging fruit, which is a remaster.
All right. Anything else you want to say there, Matt?
Nope. Just sorry for the long break. We had a little bit of a bug emergency in the house that had to be dealt with.
It wasn't a spider, was it?
No.
Ashley, she makes me, since we're talking, it's right before Halloween, we're talking creepy crawlies. Ashley makes me check the shower for many-legged bugs.
Makes sense.
Yeah, to make sure there's none in there, because she will scream. Like, I think that someone is being stabbed to death in the house. Nope, she just saw a bug. What the fuck?
Yeah, listen. My solution with spiders: burn the house down. There's no recovering.
Tricky. Here's the thing, though, and I know you're not serious because you still live in a house. Well, first of all, don't burn down your stepdad's house. But you might have a little issue with the with your insurance policy if you voluntarily burn down your house to get rid of a spider. Which, by the way, when are you playing Kill with Fire?
I'm not playing it.
You don't want to take your frustration out on spiders. And
no, not happening.
Tricky.
It's not happening.
Does it help to tell you that I watched Arachnophobia last week?
No. I'll tell you what. You want me to play Kill with Fire? Donate $500 to My Extra Life. I'll play it.
$500?
Yep.
Who the fuck do I look like? Ronald McDonald?
You can make up for all the Christmas gifts you never got me.
I got all that money from selling all them fucking burgers?
Listen, make up for all the Christmas gifts you never got me. You can just donate $500 to Extra Life and... I'll play Kill It With Fire on stream.
First of all, Tricky, we generally don't get a gift from you for Christmas. You have sometimes, we generally don't get one.
Well, because the last gift I got you still bitch about.
What was that?
Tricky got me 2 years of PlayStation Plus Premium.
No, I said I used it. What, like, I complain about it because I don't think they're adding stuff onto the premium side of the service as they should.
Oh. All right,
That's
fun
not
fact.
complaining about your gift. That's just...
Fun fact before we close up the show. Does anybody know what yesterday was?
The day the Devils beat the Oilers 5-3.
Matt, I figured you would know this more than Alex would. It was the anniversary of the release of the original NES. It was released
in Japan or in the States?
In Japan, it was July 15th of 83. In North America...
Well, I guess that would have been the Famicom, right?
Yeah,
That's what it was called in Japan, the Famicom.
Or the Family Computer. It was released October 18th, 1985, in a limited release, followed by a nationwide launch in 1986. But yes, it was released in North America 30 years ago. Yesterday. I was about to say 29, but it was actually 30 years ago. It was released. It was released 30 years ago. 40 years ago. 40 years ago.
I was going to say for the NES.
Wow.
We're talking 30 years ago. We're talking the PlayStation.
Oh, 40 years ago. Sorry. 40 years ago. And fun fact, it only released 700 games entirely for its entire launch. And 25 of them are still the best-selling games of all time. So. All right. Let's close up the show. I figured you guys would be more intrigued by that.
I mean, that's a good fact. I would like to know what those games are. That they're still the best-selling games of all time. But
well,
I would be surprised if you had that list in front of you.
Actually, I do have the list in front of me, but I'm saving that for episode 700.
Why we can't do anything? I don't know. Why don't we do another list? I mean, come on. I had the idea to do our top 50 games.
Yes.
Top 50 games list that we make instead of us reacting to somebody else's list.
Yeah, and I shot that idea down. Because
Now,
yours
what do you
would
think
just
of that idea?
because yours would just be Kill It With Fire 1 through 50.
No, it wouldn't. I wouldn't put Kill With Fire in the top 50 games of all time.
Or Shadow of the Colossus 1 through 50.
Oh, Shadow of the Colossus would be one of my high suggestions, but I would definitely recommend other games ahead of Shadow of the Colossus.
Let's close out the show. Matt, your shout out, sir.
Shout out to you, gents, for recording. Shout out to Yield. Hopefully you get some additional followers there, wherever Tricky sent you. I didn't keep track. Shout out.
I just told him to make a left at Albuquerque.
Okay. Shout out to channel3.gg. Make sure to check out channel 3 for gamified social media, earn some XP, play some mini games. It's a good time. And shout out to Will for his art for the show. Shout out to the listeners for, I guess, hearing us talk every week and not be continuously annoyed by my voice. Other than that, shout out to V. Thank you for everything you do.
Alex?
It's good to know that Tricky's not only taking content from IGN, but he's also taking it from Bugs Bunny as well.
I was waiting for you to call me out on it.
I wasn't going to interrupt Matt. I waited my turn.
I said it earlier in the show, too, and you didn't call me out on it.
Why'd you use the same joke twice, Tricky? That's just supposed to be funny.
Because you didn't get it before, so I figured I'd bring it back.
I got it. I just, waited. Like Chuck Norris, I laid in wait.
Okay, well, we're waiting for your shout out, sir.
Give a shout out to the listeners, the fans, the fuel to the fire of this trophy wars, our awesome community. Y'all, thank you all so much for, I don't think I've said y'all that many times that quickly in succession. So we appreciate you all so very much. You're the reason we do this show. You're the reason that makes the community thrive. And we got Halloween coming up. If you celebrate, hopefully you guys are watching some good spooky movies, some good scary movies if you like the slashers. And hopefully you get some good candy, or if you got kiddos, you get to share. You don't want your kids to eat too much candy, so you got to have that parent tax where you take some of it's for the kids' own good. You don't want them having that much sugar. So help the kids out and eat that candy. Hopefully the kids get some good candy. And just in general, thank you all for being part of our community. We appreciate you all every single time we get on here. Well, every single day, but also every time we get on here and record. Give a shout out to my co-host, Tricky and Matt. Give a shout out to Yield as well, who could not join us tonight. Last but not least, give a shout out to my awesome and loving girlfriend, Ashley. I love you, hun. And I think that is going to be my shout outs.
All right, and I want to give a shout out to everybody that listens to the show. Sorry, got distracted for a second. Everybody listens to the show. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to Alex. And I think that's going to be it. Sweet Mama D. Yeah, I won't be here next week. I will be returning the Sunday afterwards. But that, of course, that will be after I've done 25 hours for Extra Life. So get your donations in to Extra Life. Yeah, if you want me to play Kill with Fire, tell Alex to donate $500. Until next week, happy trophy hunting.
Alex will not be donating $500 to watch Tricky kill spiders in the virtual world.
The theme song is Venus by the band Even off their album Zenith. Permission granted by the band and 12th Stone Records. You can find them on Facebook by going to www.facebook.com/evenphilippines.